So we've got a lot to talk about, I guess. Cue the intro. What is going on, guys? Hope you guys are all doing well. My name is Eric White. No, I did not choose that last name. And we got some interesting stuff to talk about. So I kind of wanted to do this video for a while, but I've avoided it. And I kind of feel like it's a good time to do it. So we're just going to get right into it, I guess. Disclaimer before I even start the video, we have to start with the good and the other things. First of all, it's my opinion. Keep that in mind. Second of all, as of August 2018, Apple is the first trillion-dollar company ever. So no matter what I have to say after that, what I have to say before, anything like that, no one can take that away from them. As of August 2018, they are the first trillion-dollar company. They are also the second most popular OS in the entire world. Not in the US, in the entire world. They take up about 44.3% of the OS, period. And aside from that, they are dominating the tablet market. The iPad has sold over 400 million units to this day, and 44 million as of last year. Those iPad sales are doing so well that they're even outselling other laptops. HP, Dell, Lenovo, just to name a few. And also as of last year, they have sold 18 million plus Macs. And I had to get that out of the way so it doesn't seem like there's no hope for them, they're not coming back, they're completely doomed, because that's not the case at all. But with that said, now we have to move on to the not so great stuff and the reason why I even made this video. And we're going to start with the first and biggest point, which I'm sure some of you guys are already aware of, and that's the fact that the iPhone sales have not been doing okay. Now, I'm sure as soon as you guys heard when the new iPhone was coming out, you got excited, and as soon as you figured out they were coming out, you went to the Apple store and you saw that price tag and you kind of thought otherwise. And that's definitely the biggest reason why a lot of people did not even buy the new iPhone. And that's part of the reason why a lot of people didn't even buy the new iPhone. They didn't buy it for reasons because it was simply just way too expensive, or it wasn't even an upgrade, especially if they had the iPhone 10. Now, they tried to introduce the budget model, the iPhone XR, which is still a great phone, and I recommend that you try it out. But that's still a bit of a price hike, especially for an asking price of $750 for the base model. Now, the other thing that leads me to my next point actually is that the overall excitement for iPhones has gone down. Over the years, when Apple first introduced the iPhone in 2007 with the iPhone 3, there was so much anticipation, there was so much hype. It was their first all touchscreen phone, and Steve Jobs just introduced so many new things. And ever since then, the sales and excitement will start to go up, and it went up all the way into the iPhone 5S, which is the first phone that came out with Touch ID. And after that, things just started to go down. It spiked a little bit with the 6 and the 6S, and then ever since the 7, they've gone down, the 8, they've gone down, and now with the 10S, people aren't even lining up outside to get phones anymore. And the other really huge thing, their stock fell about 1.6%. And I know what you're thinking, 1% out of 100%, how in the world is that significant? Well, if you listen to what I said previously about them being the first trillion-dollar company, losing 1.6% isn't exactly something to just brush off. And just in case you guys didn't know, 1.6% of a trillion-dollar company is $1 billion, so yeah. And on top of that, they've lost 20% of their market value since October. They've lost so much market value that they've even began aggressively discounting their 10S and 10R phones just to sort of appeal to the people who do want to upgrade. And if you want to know a little bit more about that, I'll have a link to my video right up here so you guys can go watch that. I encourage you guys to go check that out. Now, yes, the iPad sales have been doing absolutely amazing. The iPad Pro is an amazing device and I'd want to get one myself. But the one thing that a lot of people were saying is that the iPad software was actually holding it back. The iPad was amazing and it was capable of everything that you can pretty much throw at it. The one thing that was holding it back was the simplicity and it being bogged down by the software because iOS is super simplistic. For instance, the screen is so big and it's such a powerful device that you might want to multitask, but it only limits you to 1 or even 2 apps, and they don't even fully take advantage of the processor, so you can't really push them all the way to the limit like you would want to. And a few little minute things is the fact that some iPads are even coming bent out of the box, and Apple is claiming that it's normal, don't worry about it, which is very weird. And the other small thing is that the iPhone XS has an unsymmetrical speaker. Now you might be wondering, why in the world do these last two details even matter? What's the point of bringing that up? Apple is supposed to be known for being a perfect company. Everything about that company screams polished. All their marketing, everything that they put into the iPhones, all their products is supposed to be completely polished. Having a bent iPad, an unsymmetrical speaker, these minute little things, but it was the minute details that put Apple on top and made them better than all the other manufacturers. And that's the reason why I'm nitpicking on them, is because everyone expects way more from them than these small little trip-ups. So just a little recap so you guys understand everything that we went over. I've sort of rushed through it a little bit. I want to just make sure you guys remember everything. So the first thing, the iPhone sales have plummeted. The overall sales for the iPhones have dramatically gone down. They've lost about 1.6%, which is about $1 billion since November. They've lost 20% of their market value since October. They've lost so much market value that they have to aggressively discount their phones. Their iPads are amazing, but it's simply just being bogged down because of how limited the OS software is. They've even started to get a little bit lazy by including bent iPads and even unsymmetrical iPhone speakers. And it sounds very weird even saying that, but it's the truth. Obviously, Apple is not doomed in any way. They are still the first trillion-dollar company and everything like I mentioned at the beginning. They're still a great company. They just have a lot of little things that they have to fix. And with the release of their upcoming iPhone 11 or whatever they plan to call it, I'm really interested to see what direction they're gonna go with that phone, because that could be the thing that really determines how much of their market stays with them. I think it's about time for them to really upgrade their iOS software, give it more features, and actually let the users be able to unlock the full potential of the devices that are on the OS, and really just turn things around in general. If anything, it's going to be around 6 to 12 very solid years for their market share to die off. For everyone who's in the Apple ecosystem with the iPhones, the iPads, the Macs, and everyone who's in that system, it's going to take a while for them to switch over to Android if they even want to. So if anything, it's going to be a while before they really die off. It's just that their consumers are starting to become a little bit more aware of what Apple is bringing to the table and what decisions the consumer should make based off of that. Because no one wants to pay $1,500 for a phone. What is going on, guys? I had to interrupt you just for a second because I realized while I was recording this video that I sort of did this out of order. Now this next section I was supposed to put before the section that you just saw. So about Netflix and General Motors, this section was supposed to be before the section that you just saw about Apple. So just wanted to let you guys know it's a little bit out of order, but now you guys kind of understand where I'm going with this. So back to the video. Now there's a few companies I'd like to bring your attention to. First one, General Motors. Now everyone knows who General Motors is, but what you might not know is that in the year 2000 they filed for bankruptcy and had to lay off thousands of people. They were starting to lose a lot of money, they weren't as profitable as they once were, so they sat down and thought about what could they do. What they decided to do was cut off Hummer, Saturn, and Pontiac, and then they went public and then raised $20 billion. And in 2013, they sold the last of their shares, and that saved 1.2 million jobs. Another big company that you probably didn't know about, Starbucks. Now in the year 2000 as well, they overexpanded. Like literally there was a Starbucks at every single corner, and I remember seeing that. There were so many that it actually started to hurt their profits. In 2008, their net income fell and their stock prices were cut in half. And once they started to go down, CEO Howard Schultz stepped up and showed them the way to go. Now they're doing amazing. And last but not least, we have Netflix. Now, some of you don't know that Netflix actually used to have a DVD rental service. I used to rent Dragon Ball Z from them a long time ago. But in 2011, they did something interesting. They announced that they weren't going to be doing the unlimited streaming service as well as the DVD rental. You would have to choose one or the other. And after they announced this, they got a lot of backlash and even lost 800,000 customers just because of that announcement. And their stock went completely down from $300 to only $65. But after they introduced a very interesting series called House of Cards in 2013, you can guess what happened. Their stock went up to $400, and Amazon and Hulu were very much trying to catch up and see what they can do to get back on track with Amazon. Now, companies go through their ups and downs, and this is definitely the dark age for Apple, as Tim Cook has said himself. Now, Apple is still a great company. They still offer great customer service at some stores, but they've got some things that they gotta fix, and it might just be time for them to think different. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Make sure if you guys liked it that you leave a thumbs up. Make sure you go down below, click the sub button, join Innovation Nation, and I will see you guys in the next one.